Thank you for giving me a few moments of your time today. I want to go over some information on our upcoming E-SPLOST vote. This will be E-SPLOST 6, that's Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, and that vote will be taking place March 16 of 2021. On the screen you'll see the levy dates for all 5 of the E-SPLOST periods that we've had since 1997. And so we talk about E-SPLOST making sense for Walker County. This is the same penny we voted on in 1997 when the E-SPLOST program began. And you can see the total collections that are listed for each 5-year period. Right now in E-SPLOST 5, as of September 30 of 2020, we've collected $16.1 million. So how did we stretch that 1997 penny? What did we do with the funds that were collected from the 1 penny off every dollar spent in Walker County? And you can see there were a number of new schools that were acquired, constructed, and inhabited during that course of E-SPLOST 1, 2, and 3. And those are listed on the screen for you. We also had a number of classroom additions and renovations at a variety of schools across the district during that same 3 E-SPLOST periods. We did some site enhancements that included athletic facilities. We also do roofing projects, and you can see some of those listed for the first 3 E-SPLOST periods. As we roll into E-SPLOST 4, we continue to stretch that 1997 penny with those classroom additions and renovations. And you can see several of those schools listed there and the specifics about those additions and renovations. We had site enhancements. We had roofing projects. We also installed automated logic controls for our HVAC and lighting, which definitely ends up being a savings on our energy bills annually. We also replaced the central plant at Gilbert Elementary School. New construction, we built our transportation facility, and we've been inhabiting that now for almost a year. We always purchase school buses. We don't get as much funding from the state, and so we utilize E-SPLOST funding to purchase our school buses to replace aging buses in our fleet. And you can see there were a number of classroom additions and renovations that also included HVAC changeouts at several schools and the construction of the greenhouses that we built at each of our middle schools. Roofing projects, several schools listed there, and some additional site enhancements. And I think one to point out there would be the SILOC security system and door access and controls that we installed at every building as we were attempting to make our buildings one access point and very secure for the safety and security of our students and our staff. We continue to advance in the area of technology, and so that requires a recycling plan so that we have the number of devices that we need not only for students but also for our teachers and staff members. So what's the exponential power of a penny? So that 1997 penny, when we began E-SPLOST collections across the state of Georgia, but specifically here in Walker County. So up through September 30 of 2020, so in a 23-year period, we have collected $102,644,238. When we begin looking at the planning process for E-SPLOST 6, we have to go back and start to look at the collections and the historical amounts that we're receiving on a monthly basis. We start that projection at a negative growth rate based on what potentially could happen with our economy. We build our budget and our planning off of a 0% growth rate so that we know exactly what that's going to look like based on history. And then we add into that the potential of a 2%, 4%, and a 6% growth rate, just for planning purposes. But you can see at a 0%, we're estimated collecting $26.1 million in the next 5-year E-SPLOST period. And keep in mind, the total estimated collections are a little more than $30 million. But we split the E-SPLOST with the Chickamauga City School System based on our enrollment, and it ends up being somewhere around 86% for Walker County schools and approximately 14% for Chickamauga City schools. So we go through and begin to put together a list of proposed projects. We work with our principals and our schools to talk about what are those needs, and then we bring that list to our Board of Education for their consideration, and then to put those into priority order. So the list of projects you're going to see over the next couple of slides are in priority order. The first is the capital outlay projects, which includes renovations and modifications to all 15 school properties, and that includes school food service renovations, paving, restriping, and lighting of parking lots and entrance roads. It also includes HVAC, it includes flooring, paint, ceiling tile, lighting, and a variety of other things. The E-SPLOST collections are then paired with the capital outlay funds that we receive from the state to offset some of the costs. The second one is technology. So we'll be looking at adding additional upgrades for devices, infrastructure, safety and security, and other related resources for schools, teachers, and staff. Replacement of school system fleet vehicles to include school buses, maintenance, and school food service vehicles. Athletic field improvements, maintenance, upgrades, potential artificial turf, resurfacing, and replacement of tennis courts. Auxiliary gymnasiums. We'll be looking at building one auxiliary gym at each of our 4 middle schools to allow our students to have practice times and not have to remain on campus late into the evenings. Central office projects, exterior and interior renovations at the old Lafayette High School and at the Advancing Education Center locations. And then a new high school potentially in the future, all of that based on enrollment, availability of state capital outlay funds, and a variety of other factors. So the question we come to is, what have we missed? We have a prioritized list of potential projects with the associated cost. We plan to attach a bond referendum similar to the 5 previous E-SPLOST votes that we've taken since 1997. This allows us to begin those projects immediately at current construction costs versus waiting on those collections every month. So what we're asking is, hey, tell us what you think we need to have in our upcoming E-SPLOST 6. Pass along your thoughts about our priority list of projects. Do you feel like those are appropriate? Are those things that impact the child or children that you have in our school system currently, or the buildings that you represent as well? Please make any suggestions about projects that should be considered. Is there something out there that has been a part of a conversation that maybe needs to be mentioned and at least considered as we talk through what does this look like as we go forward? And then send those thoughts or suggestions to a special email address that we have set up specifically for this, and that is esplost6@walkerschools.org. Historical election dates and bond programs are shown on the screen now, and you can see all the way back from 1997, we had to develop what a collections cap, or what's the amount that we feel like we were going to be able to collect in that 5-year period. And then do we authorize bonds, which means we took in the first E-SPLOST a collections cap of $29 million. We bonded $16 million. We got that money up front and started all of those construction costs. And if you remember, there were a number of new schools built during that time period. And then that money is paid back with the collections over the next 3 to 4 year period. And you see the approval rating for the voters on each of the 5 E-SPLOST to date. And it's been very successful, and we feel like based on what we do with the funding, how we spend it with integrity, and what the product looks like for folks as they drive by our buildings or visit our buildings and come inside, that our voters have been very happy with how we're spending the money, and they see the progress across our school system and across our district. So the power of that penny makes common sense. We just want you to know how much we appreciate your continued support of the Education Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, or E-SPLOST, since 1997. And we're asking you to consider going out on March 16 of 2021 to continue the power of this amazing penny. Thank you.